What is a millennial? I know these guys are millennials.
Is
for
this
sure.
a millennial right here?
What birth years ranging from 90s or
It's debatable, 80 to 84 through 2000.
Like somewhere in that range. Early 80s.
to the 2000s.
Yeah, started 2000.
So it's kind of loose,
Somewhere in
but
there.
Previously referred to as Generation Y.
It's like an entire 20-year period.
Hey, what's the Wi-Fi password here?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you.
Seriously, I'm trying to Snapchat my dogs. Like, this isn't working.
Your dog's right next to you.
By the way,
There's my dog.
not to throw off his great little acting that he's being, just so no, he's being a millennial. He's trying to, because millennials
If
are
you didn't catch on,
Millennials are defined, according to this article, as lazy, materialistic, narcissistic, and then here it says they love taking selfies. So that's cool too.
But apparently they're...
I think as we dove further into it initially and we dive further now, I mean, it's a big gap. You're talking
it's
early 80s to the early 2000s.
Yeah.
You have a diverse type of group of people, often seen negative, often seen positive as well. Yeah. Different, I guess you could say.
Do you know the year that the phrase millennial was coined?
Oh.
1974.
Close, 87.
Well, I was way off.
When you say negative,
it's close to 74.
I wasn't paying attention. I'm a millennial. So, anyways, I was kind of surprised by that. Yeah.
No, and I agree with you. There's a negative and a positive because
it's just different.
When people rip on that generation from a negative standpoint, I get it. But then it's also a lot of people go, well, man, I mean, they're efficient. They don't like wasting time. Yeah. They got their priorities.
Fully embrace technology. They understand the world we're living in.
Some of that,
I don't understand the world.
Some of that perceived laziness comes from this flow now of, hey, how about I work smart, not hard, right? I think that's
smart,
tied in there.
easy, and awesome.
A little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about this for a while. I mean, there's frustrations and good things about them equally.
Yeah. But what we want to cover today is getting an understanding in the kind of 401k space, human resources space. Why is it important to understand what a millennial is? As an example, if you're a financial advisor, what do you need to know? How can you modify your business model if necessary to deal with that generation?
If necessary, yeah.
Which it is necessary.
By the way, I just ruined my mic. Sorry, Brandon.
Anyone's offended by what?
Only care about yourself, huh?
Don't move on from Mark right now. Let's get this. Sorry, back to Mark.
They called the millennials the Peter Pan generation. Mm-hmm. Just curious.
As in, you never
grow up.
You're deferring like adult responsibilities.
Well, you really,
is that because they think we're staying at home longer? Sorry, Mom and Dad, you just have a really nice house, right? Is that because we don't want to pay bills and I don't know, we have huge amounts of student debt and there's no jobs.
But they also lack work ethic.
If you don't have work, how do you work? How do you have ethic to work? I'm just asking the question.
Even when they are working. They're entitled.
They haven't been able to work.
They give it to me now. I get out of college and I think I should be making $80,000 a year.
Right.
You know, which.
So this is the first, arguably the first generation that college is nearly a must, right? Everybody in the millennial generation seems to be going to college as if it were high school for the generation before.
Right.
And so the thought is, because the generation before, if you went to college, you were getting a job.
Yeah.
Because you were one of the few. Now they're looking and saying, just because you went to college doesn't mean you get a job. Right. And now even to the point that we're at, which, sorry, I don't even know the generation beyond the millennials at this point. I think that arguably people who have a college degree maybe are not even looked at as being as strong candidates for a position as those that just have a high school degree. Yeah. I don't think it's because, and so you have this group of people in terms of access to jobs jammed in the middle that they thought, geez, if I get an education, I get a job.
Right.
Because that's what happened to the generation prior.
Well, it was kind of what was communicated, you know, almost in a sense of like.
For sure.
And that same generation communicated to us as kids.
Yeah,
you go to college,
that's what I was saying.
I beat you to it.
Like, I think for many millennials, college was still part of the 1 through 12 educational process, right? Like, it didn't seem like an option to me. I was going to college. That's what I was going to do, and I got
just wikied it, bro. Generation Z.
Well, that would make sense. Like X, and
Y.
That's after
Y,
Millennials. Generation Z.
Z.
So is there going to be no more generation after that? Just done?
You go back to A.
It just resets.
So you have this group of people who, arguably, let's say what we're stating are the negatives, but in my mind they're just differentiators. They are.
You're such a good salesman.
They feel entitled. They need something now. They, I guess, going with entitled, they believe that they are aligned for something bigger than perhaps what the average person probably is going to achieve in their lifetime. They're connected to technology. They are, we'll say, more literate, probably, all in, because of the way
I would agree.
that
I wouldn't argue, sir.
we have gone to a really tech-based society. I would say they're more...
Well, the information is right in front of them all the time.
Right,
So
they're
I think
more
gonna be
literate because of
more informed.
Google.
Informed, that's a great word for it. So now, how does that translate to the K marketplace?
And we're going to
And
dive.
I am parched.
Yeah, we're going to dive more into that. We're going to hit these specifics. Provide
You're
some,
really parched? Really?
That's a great
provide
segue.
some value.
Really?
That's a good point.
Thirsty, you?
That's a good point.
So stay tuned for that. But like every episode, we got to have the beer of the episode. And we got to have a little bit of fun. And this time, I decided we'd mix the two together. Okay? So as you open these, it's actually Mark that's going to do a blind taste test. on
Really?
these. So
First,
Mark,
I get
there's-
the wheel of ice.
let me
Now
explain to you
this.
why it's you. First of all, it's 40s.
And what are you saying?
You're a Raiders fan. So
Wow. Okay, the mic's coming
just-
off and the shirt's
I'm
coming out.
just
That's
pretty
the case.
sure most Raiders fans have their fair share
Wow.
of 40s.
That's like being classified as a millennial, like in
you're
the Peter
both.
Pan generation. That's
so here's how it's going to work.
Mickey's.
Here's how
That's
it's going to work, Mark.
fantastic.
Just like the previous episode where Chad did it, we're going to put the blinder on. You're going to taste each one, and then we're going to put them in order: 1, 2, 3, 4, and you do your guess. Okay, you got what do we?
fair because I don't get to hold the bottle because I can tell which.
I don't mind if he holds the
True.
bottle.
We have to go into a cup with this.
Yeah, because
Why?
two plastics,
'Cause,
two glass.
Yeah, when you guys did this to me, it was the same.
Good call.
We should have drank out of a mug on our last episode.
That's
Drank
okay.
out of a bottle.
That's a good call. I forgot about the plastic versus glass. Mark's smart. He'll
Do you
figure
want
that
us
out.
to use this mug, B?
Right there in the corner.
JD, that
That's
might
what
be
I'm
the first time you've ever called me smart.
Okay, so we got Mickey's. What do we got? Old E. What do we got?
We
got
have
King Cobra?
Yeah, Old E.
Oh,
we
is this
have
the same
PBR
thing?
Cobra.
Is this the
and
same one Chad used?
Mark, pay attention.
You're
Pay
gonna get
attention.
sick.
Millennial, pay attention
Man,
to me.
your cold's been lasting
What you're gonna
for a while.
do is tell us which one's which
like
at
a
the
petri
end, like
dish
Chad did.
Can I do it while I go?
But then no, because
at
then at the same time,
Yeah.
you get to give it to one of us
If he gets it right,
as the beer of their episode.
Okay.
No, just in general.
Oh,
These
dear Lord.
are your beers of the episode.
Wow.
So he'll
I'm
guess.
opening them now so you can't hear them.
As a millennial, I think that the beers are appropriate.
I
Let
hope
me
you do as
clarify.
poorly as I do.
Let me clarify. You will say this
Or
is.
Dan.
I believe number one is Mickey's, and I want Chad to drink the Mickey's. And if you're wrong, Chad still takes the Mickey's. Okay.
I'm fine with that. Mickey's takes me back to my younger days.
And Mark,
Just ask my brother
as
about
your
that.
employer, I really like Pabst Blue Ribbon.
I was actually going to give that one.
Since
to
we
you guys.
crack all of our good beers with this, it should,
All right, I'm ready when you are.
Okay.
Let me just make sure I can't
Help
see.
me
yeah,
out
you're
over
gonna have
there.
to push it against your face.
I got you covered, buddy.
All right, thank you.
The first one, an oldie but a goodie, a classic.
Perhaps
40
we should
ounces.
have like 4 mugs.
Of freedom.
Got it?
Yeah.
Get it. Sniff it?
I was
Well,
out.
it's not going to matter. Hey, hold on.
I was out with some
Yeah, he
buddies
can't see.
a few months ago, and
Doesn't have
after
the
we
can
hung out at the
anyways.
restaurant all night, one of them suggested we go have 40s at his car in the parking lot, and we all
That's
got
a true story?
Yeah, we all got really excited.
When
Let's
Justin
get
and I
40s.
lived in Colorado, we tried to do Edward 40 hands,
Couldn't do
which
it.
is when you tape 40s to your hands.
I thought we
you have
should
to
try
finish
that
them.
on this show.
They didn't serve 40s in Colorado, so we had to buy a 6-pack.
That's number
and
one.
we
Stay
taped
to the
3
left,
beers
man.
in each hand.
That's number one.
It,
Go to number
it became
2.
tough, JD.
I want to try doing.
Not only that, the beer we bought in remember the grocery stores was half the content.
Would it distract us on
yeah, it
the
was
show?
3.2%.
Doing the Edward 40 hands. That's number 2.
It would be pretty hard. You
This
couldn't
is
Google.
really not easy.
By the
at
way,
all.
it's like wine. You're totally like cleaning that
Yeah.
glass for him, right?
Yeah, get us another mug.
Just finish it.
Well, of course, we're going to make him do that.
Here, get him a new one.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. First two tasted exactly
Yeah, never
the
say
same.
anything about Retireholics, and we got tons of glasses and mugs
Thank
and
you.
inventory. We're always ready to rock.
But send more.
Yeah, but send us more.
Keep
Okay.
them coming.
Number 3 on its way.
I just hope I recognize one of them because this was,
Apparently, this is a lot
Back in
harder
the
than I
day.
thought. Again, as I mentioned last time, at home, if you want to try this out, see if you're better. I would say 90% of our audience beat Chad last time since he was 0 for
holy cow.
4.
This is not easy. I'm trying to hurry, by the way.
These are different flavored beers, though. Last time you gave me 3 light beers, but
You would think this would be easier.
I would think so. But they're not something you drink often, so.
What?
Okay.
You don't drink these
Who's
often?
getting what? Keep your mouth.
Yeah, who's getting what?
Has he done them
Oh.
all?
Who gets number 1?
I just go by taste.
Did he
huh?
do all 4?
One is JD,
Okay.
That's a
And-
bitch.
and
So
do
what
you
is
think
it?
One is.
PBR.
Oh, you just screwed
Oh,
me, bro.
shit.
Hey, you can't tell him that. Now he knows that one of the last ones is PBR.
One of the last 3 is PBR.
Jeez.
Wait, that means I get PBR, though.
Regardless.
Number 2 goes to Chad. And
And
that one was
this is a time-constrained show.
that one was King Cobra. Number 3 goes to Justin, and that was PBR.
Wait, okay. Oh, so he shifted his shit, because that's lame.
No, I didn't shift anything.
No, he did.
I didn't shift anything.
You already said,
You said PBR
PBR
the
for
first
JD.
time.
Well, and I knew it
told
was
you-
wrong,
But
so
I
I'm
knew
being
he's wrong.
smart.
Oh.
But he's wrong again.
I know. So 4 goes to me, and it's PBR.
Just so
You
you
can't say
know,
PBR 3 times. You're 0 for 4,
hey,
dude.
just so you know, your 4th guess doesn't work.
I got one
Justin
right,
gets
right?
King. No, you got none.
No.
Number 2 was PBR.
He gave you King Cobra. No,
God
number 2 is
damn it.
Mickey's.
Number 4 was PBR.
I said 4
Yeah, but
PBR.
after
you
you
said-
said
you said
PBR 2
PBR
other
3
times.
I know,
3
so
times.
what?
You can't give us PBR
He
3
gave the
times.
system.
Yeah.
It's his now.
Yeah.
All right, there you go.
By the
why,
way,
why did you pick this for me?
Because you picked the other
I'm
3
not-
for us.
Oh, okay.
I'm not a beer expert,
Cheers.
but my understanding is that this is regular beer, and that's malt liquor over there. So I'm very happy. Welcome to the Retireholics.
How many ounces do you have?
Yeah, another good
Can I
one.
get a
got
brown-
32. You
Hey,
got
Chad.
40.
Yeah,
Can I get a brown
cheater.
bag?
Loser drives.
All right. So we were just, in a way, not totally ripping
Oh
on
my God.
millennials, but we went through a lot of research. I read a lot of different articles. I've learned some stuff over the years. And actually, when it comes to finance, millennials kind of have their tish together. Like, so here's some stuff. 70% of millennials are already saving for retirement. Two-thirds
Well, the average
of millennials.
the youngest millennial at this point would be
17.
Okay, so it's impressive.
Millennials who participate in a 401k plan contribute 10% median of their annual pay.
That's inclusive of an employer match.
Sure, I left that out for simplicity.
There you
But, so the general vibe on the street here on the internet is that counter to what many people think, they're actually pretty into their finances. They're into
So-
their retirement.
Their last
That's perfect, though. Millennials in a Starbucks bag.
last episode we talked about one of the points was financial illiteracy, right?
Yeah.
These folks would not fall in
Correct.
that category, is what we're saying. And if you think about it, back to what I stated earlier about this being a fairly large gap, you have this group of folks who the generation prior to them, some of them probably had pensions in place. And this would be the first real generation that's saying, yeah, pensions don't really exist for the reasons that they did in the past. I'm not going to work with
a
one
good
company
point.
for 30 years. Therefore, the onus is on me.
I got to be
save.
more self-responsible. with
Yeah,
it, right?
That they
It
saw
totally
their
makes
parents go
sense.
through 2008, lose a lot.
They saw their parents crash in the stock market, so that's heightened their sensitivity
Yeah,
to
it's
knowing
good.
more about investments and getting support.
I would argue, too, that just on the very, very basic level of technology in general has really, I think, increased a lot of people's availability to
For
different
sure.
resources, tools, and the fact that folks like us, millennials, sort of rely on technology, we're more apt to use it and utilize it.
And access, right? Access to that education.
And
simplicity.
luckily, the technology, unlike some TPAs who are slow moving for technology, but the industry as a whole is sort of leading that. They're utilizing that and going that way. So I think it goes hand in hand to why these types of people, us included, would increase contributions, would put more in, be more aware of it, and be more intellectual when it comes to it.
When you think about it too, and supporting that, we read a stat that this will be the first generation to earn less than what their parents did. Obviously adjusted for inflation, yada, yada, yada. But the first generation to earn less than what their parents did. And what are we all doing at this point, typically? Living longer.
Beer? Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah, that too. We're living longer. So if you earn less and you live longer, what do you need to do to become retirement ready?
Save more.
You need to save more and save earlier, probably.
Which is what they're doing as well.
That supports the
very
data that JDS give us. So how does that translate? I mean, what does an advisor do differently to target these type of people, knowing who they are?
One, I want advisors, human resources, industry professionals to take that takeaway we just talked about. So understand who they are and understand that even though they're perceived as a lazy, selfie-taking generation, that when it comes to finances, they're actually very keen to learn, to understand it, and they rate it high on their priority list. And you need to understand that if you're trying to work with them. The second big takeaway, which we've talked about a little bit, is they're a digital age. They grew up with devices in their hands and the internet, and they want quick, easy DIY answers to things. They want to find it on an app and a website. They're not used to calling someone and waiting 2 days to get a verbal response. And so
that is even a millennial myself, a quick way to piss me off.
Right.
See,
Get back to me now.
Yeah.
Brooke hates it if I were to consider us millennials, because we're all so early in that. Like, arguably the very first year that one could be a millennial.
We're on the brink, yeah.
And let's be honest, it's a 20-year stretch of people. Yeah. Think about how big of a difference that is if you're talking about something else. Like, what if your 5-year-old daughter started dating a 25-year-old guy? There's a 20-year difference, and that seems very drastic.
That's a really odd analogy.
I was trying to make it as terrible as possible. Yeah, my daughter will not date.
That was weird.
But isn't that like that's a huge gap of people?
Yeah, true. But still, a lot of these things that we're highlighting are very true and are very relevant, especially this digital age, especially this get stuff now. It's something that does fit in that 20-year gap because of technology and what's going on. And
what's interesting to me too about that get something now, as we were just talking about, I think,
thank you, Amazon Prime.
I'm guilty of this.
Sick.
I don't just research to get one answer and then be content. Because it's so readily available. Like back in the day, I imagine my parents would go to a CPA or go to someone that knew what they were talking about, and whatever that person says, they take for being accurate. Yeah. Now, you want me to tell you what year group Millennials structured from? I'm probably looking at 4 different sites to figure that out.
And not only that, we found 4 different answers too.
They call this the information age, right? It's there at your fingertips.
But what was interesting to me though in that too was, millennials want it on that first click. If they have to search for it and keep searching for it, they get less interested in the move on.
But I don't think that they're content with one answer. That's what I was just stating. Is that
they'd love to get more. And let's be clear, you are a nerdy millennial. And so you're going to search
very early on. I think the millennial stage starts when the folks were graduating from high school in the year 2000, when it was the millennium, right? When all the computers were supposed to just shut down.
Yeah, right.
Because nobody knew what the year 2000 would do. Y2K, thank you.
But let's go straight to the takeaway, for someone who's watching this that's in financial services, how do they make themselves a better fit for these quote-unquote millennials who are 33% of the workforce? I didn't make that one up. I found it on some article.
Some article. You read everything. You read everything you read on the internet.
If it's on the internet, it's true. If they have broker dealers
very
that stand in their way, if they have rules from their broker dealers that stand in their way, and they feel like, well, how am I supposed to create this kind of text message, internet answers types of thing? I don't have that ability. Well, the easy answer is partner with the vendors, the record keepers that have built that stuff. Partner with the third party things. You talked about Bloom earlier, brought it up. Revisited Bloom, we talked about a long time ago.
Yeah, they have invested millions of dollars of research into this. I mentioned it earlier, but I don't know the specifics, but Transamerica did some sort of research that included a very different approach to both baby boomers. That was something that was more like paper-based, something like that, and millennials, which was on Facebook. And it received very different...
And you said something about the Facebook when you said it almost had like an artsy flair to it.
I think there was like you created a cartoon or something.
Gamification
and they mentioned that in a meeting, and the baby boomers almost just went like,
what?
That, but the millennials ate it up. And so again, that's just...
I love that stuff.
The fact that they can go out and spend the time and effort and money to do the research, they need to utilize that and be able to use it to their advantage.
On a simpler thing than I would say as an advisor, and I'm not saying leave the suit and tie at home. I mean, you do what's authentic to you, but you can't go into millennials and sit down with a notebook and a pencil and try to. I mean,
Let's be honest.
But let them know that you've got tech. Let them know that you've got immediate things.
Don't talk about a notebook and pencil. Chad texted me a picture yesterday of a stack of yellow notepads. It was like, hey, in case you need some anymore. Which, by the way, I did go buy some on my own. But don't, so you'll offend him.
I love notebooks, but let me ask a question, because I think that we're trying to get granular with this generation, yet it's a span of 20 plus years, depending on where you're looking. Is it more relevant to try to target a location, a workforce, versus an age group? Like, let me ask the question. If you're sitting in Missouri, which is obviously I talk about a lot, that's where my wife's from, that's where I went to school. I love it there. Do you think that the average millennial there is the same as they are the person sitting here in San Francisco?
Completely different.
Very different.
Yeah.
But don't take us off down this rabbit hole.
Yeah.
This is relevant. Time out. This is relevant for an advisor who's looking at building how they're going to communicate to these folks. Should they target saying, okay, this is a younger workforce, 33%. I'm gonna create some sort of campaign or work with providers that are targeting millennials, or am I gonna say, okay, this is an engineering firm. They're probably more along the millennial side. This is a contracting firm. This is a construction firm.
It's an interesting concept.
I need to be more hands-on and paper-based, for example.
The bulk of those people are still they've had access to technology. They're familiar with it. They want simplicity. Right.
How many groups, and I'm not going to say, let me ask another question. How many groups do you all meet with? Hopefully you're not in the enrollment meeting, because obviously that's not really our role.
I'm sure he did one the other day.
Do you find out that the client wants paper-based enrollment? I probably still hear that 15% of the time. Okay. The client doesn't want the employees to go online, enroll, then get a response. Do
you know why that is?
It's
probably a baby boomer who's in the HR department.
Probably true.
Well, there you go.
Probably true. But I guess what I'm trying to get at is that I think the workforce is what dictates the type of communication, not necessarily the age.
That's super fair.
Okay, but you're going to workforce versus we're just talking about a specific group of people.
But you're talking about communicating.
The answers are the same, though. The answers are the same.
Go with the majority.
There's been some episodes where I touch you on the knee. The answers are the same. It's that advisors and in-plan sponsors need to understand the perspective of their workforce, and today's subject happens to be millennials, and try to create things that fit for them and that work well for them, that they understand and that inspire them to be part of everything. And so all we're saying is, hey, pay attention to this. These people are very digital. They need modern day, clean, simple platforms and partner with those.
So give us 2 or 3 examples of how an advisor can embrace that.
Auto-enroll.
Okay.
Creating features that are going to help these people get into the plans and make it simple for them.
It is
And
true.
we know
Justin is correct.
84%
Yeah.
Throwing stats.
of all millennials, when given an opportunity to have auto-enroll, will stay in the plan.
Right, so they're very receptive.
So
to
they
automatic
don't see that
enrollment.
bigger brother type approach. They're looking
not
at it
at
and saying,
all.
hey, I know I need to save. This is a benefit to me. And so,
If you look at
And they
the
spoke on that specifically, was that they do not feel millennials do not feel that way like the previous generations did.
Yeah, they're cool with it.
part of that too, if we use the naysayer approach to this, is
You're good at that.
though I know, but if I'm a millennial and no, I don't give a crap, right? I'm not paying attention. What is auto-enroll? It's putting me in the plan. I'm not paying attention. I'm just getting a paycheck, dude. It's just going to Natty Ice and a bunch of other cool things, right? That's what they're doing.
They're drinking wine.
Right. So when those dollars come out, I'm not looking at my pay stub. I just expect whatever my employer gives me is what I'm getting paid.
I
So
liked what you
they
said.
don't even catch on to it. If we believe that, right? I am a control freak, so every paycheck I get, even though it probably should be the same, I always look at it.
I liked what you said earlier, where almost in a negative way you said millennials expect to have a 401k plan.
I was going to
And
say that later on the show.
Sorry,
You
sorry.
just totally blew it.
I stole it. That's what I do.
I'm still going to say it.
What
With
I-
repetitive motion.
So go ahead, say it. And so what
The
I liked,
millennials expect 401k
What I
plans. See,
like-
it doesn't have the same flow.
what I liked about that was I said, you know what? I like that they expect it because I like a generation that at least is paying attention to it.
But my analogy was better. If you go to the grocery store, do you expect there to be bananas?
Yes.
Why'd you have to
Damn
pick
right.
bananas?
Right? If there's no bananas, now
cheese,
if
man.
they're not the perfect banana, I'm not going to buy it. If it's too overripe, I'm not going to buy it. They're bananas. They're there.
My point
So-
was, I love a generation that's least cares about it because you
Right.
could say that the generation before them maybe were less interested. By the way, what was
But
the
they also have
generation before them?
different baby boomers.
I thought what's Gen
You
X?
have Gen X.
Oh,
Because that's
yeah,
my
sure.
generation,
Oh,
guys.
You're a little tiny.
And by the way,
small
way
little-
cooler, Gen X.
Look at
That's
your.
a
Can
sick
you show
name.
the camera your socks?
This is Tom Curran. He's my favorite surfer.
So we got two, which support each other. Actually, they expect.
Just tell us the third.
Millennials expect a plan, and auto enroll is something that they see value in.
Not just auto-enroll,
Auto
simplified
escalation,
features.
simplified, something that's going to get them involved.
Yeah.
I get that. You mentioned Bloom. That's probably a good third one.
They want digital.
They want digital. They want engagement. Yeah.
They want you to deliver a digital, easy-to-use interface for participants to manage
So,
their 401k.
That sort of looks like a social media flow, as in what Principal showed us
Let's
today
talk
with their
about that,
participants.
can we?
Yeah.
So we met with Principal Financial Group earlier today in our conference room. We
And I
do
like
things
what they
besides
said,
drink
that there
beer
was
and hang out.
science behind it, that they actually
The
care
site
about.
itself
Yeah.
looks very social media,
Facebook-ish.
right? Facebook-ish. They have text message enrollment because I've got a coming on 19-year-old daughter and her phone's always right here. You know, although
We read that stat. The average millennial sends like 52 text messages a day.
that's crazy.
That's insane.
So you can enroll via
Jeez.
text at Principal, which is very cool. They've got the education videos that are customized to you if you feed the data in. They say, hey JD, we're gonna walk you through your enrollment, yada yada yada. You make decisions. It was very like funky
It was
and
a
cool
full
and
decision
hip.
tree. Depending on
No,
what you
and
click,
then
will lead you certain
If they
directions.
increase their referral percentages or whatnot, add incomes, immediate response that this is what you'll look
Very
like. this is what
touchable,
retirement will
removable
look like.
things that give
Yeah.
you an answer. I love the part where it asks the person like, has anything special happened in your life in the
Yeah.
last year? And it said, did you get married? And that was one of them. And then you clicked, yes, I got married. And it goes, yo, you got hitched?
That's awesome.
she
I
said-
knew you had a glow about
I knew you had a glow. So it's very
Yeah,
cool and
that was
fun.
awesome.
And then they even had ongoing check-in with your plan video stuff that was customized per the plan. So
pretty
very
impressed.
digital age,
for
sure.
millennial friendly, right?
But the participant site itself, not to go into that, but they listened to the people using the site, the participants, to know what they wanted to see first versus the industry who wants to show what they want to pitch first. Everything
Yeah.
at the top about their scores and things and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I just thought it was kind of cool. Like, that's sort of what the millennials want to see. They want to see the things they need to know and want to know right now.
Those three things, and again, shifting to an advisor and or a plan sponsor, those three things at a product like like principle are a perfect takeaway of you can latch
Absolutely.
on to that, talk to your clients, talk to your participants about things like this and get huge value from it.
And don't be fearful that they'll see it in negative light, right? So many groups that I meet with look at auto-enroll and they go, oh no, I can't do that to my employees.
Keep talking for a
It's
long
going to be
time and
terrible
hold his arm
if
up.
we auto-enroll folks because they're going to feel like we're playing bigger brother. 'Cause
I
we're
totally
taking a
agree with
portion
what
of
you're
their
saying,
paycheck
Chad.
and we're putting it in.
I mean, that's a great point. And to further
tells us
elaborate
different
on that point,
See,
I have
I'm a
really
early
nothing to
millennial
add,
'cause I
but
But you just want
it's
to
very
keep
valuable
talking.
for
So,
sure, for sure.
We still
Did you switch hands? You switched hands
Sorry.
because your shoulders
I
are
have a
strong enough to
question.
hold up your arm.
So our last episode, we talked about financial wellness, and I want to bring this back. And my question is to you guys, just out of curiosity, do you believe that millennials think that financial wellness is important and something that needs to be a part of sort of a company's overall package of benefits and a part of their 401k plan?
I don't know so much. I think earlier generations maybe because they're closer to retirement because we do know millennials, although they are smart about retirement, they also like to spend money a little bit recklessly. They're materialistic.
I'm not going to say anything about Justin. I'm not going to say anything about Justin. I'm not going to say anything about Justin.
I kind of shot myself in the foot there. But you get the point
Is that a new-
I'm trying
is
to
that a new
make. I don't
Tiger
know.
shirt?
How's that
Couldn't do
karma
it.
grip working out for you?
The what? What is that?
I'm just. So
Anyways,
I was just curious to know.
What's
Your
Millennial
thoughts.
will get it.
Yeah.
Oh,
So basically, the point of what I'm saying
Where did
is
you
I don't know
order
if
your
they
new
fully
bed from?
It's a-
understand
It's a sleep number, right?
Is it?
What is your
the
sleep
full
number?
circle. No, it's not. Of financial wellness.
I disagree. I'm not sure I listened to what you said, but I
What
think
else is new?
I think that
You look like a millennial, or should I say a hipster
I
millennial?
think they are very
Yeah, absolutely.
interested in financial wellness and are perfect candidates.
So I think
for a
that
program like
just means for 2017, a couple of the key points we've brought up being financial wellness and a very key group of people within these plans need to be a focus for advisors
Yes,
in our
for
partnership.
sure. And the plan sponsors and the industry
Oh,
professionals.
that's right. We're trying to target and talk to plan sponsors through these episodes.
Sure. So that's how we'll wrap it. Those are great, actually. I'm super happy with that. Those nuggets that were thrown out there for them.
I could go for some nuggets.
That's a very millennial thing. Nuggets,
Sure, we
right?
would join you.
Yeah, chicken nuggets.
Yeah,
That's
chicken
awesome.
nuggets.
We are the Retireholics.
Cheap beer drinking, some bitches.
Man.
J.D. Carlson, Chad Johansson.
Let's hold on before you
Marcus
conclude.
Allen.
So, James
question.
Douglas. What does the K stand for? Don't answer.
Kevin,
Nope.
I know what it is. So
I know what yours is, so I can't answer that.
Kurt,
His is J in the middle. What's J stand for?
Don't even say it.
Julia,
Nope.
Yeah.
Okay. JD again. McNeil. So what's the D stand for in his name?
Daniel,
How is this
Hey,
relevant
he's
to
got
our
one.
show?
I just wanted to see how good he is.
Daniel, Kevin.
Dirk.
No, I said that.
All right, let's close it out.
Changing the retirement plan industry
40 at a time.
40 at a time, bro. 40. Honey,
Bodie. Oh, no!
You guys gonna end it?
that's for the wheel of ice.
All right.
That sounds horrible.
That was for the wheel of ice.
Justin barely even nipped his there. This is good.
That now. We didn't even do